It's the delicious last course. Oh, the delicious last course. One can eat their fill and still stay until the delicious last course. It's the delicious last course. Oh, that delicious last course. There's our cakes and pies, a dozen scones, oh my, for that delicious last course. Oh, Miss Chalice just wants to be just as real can be. With a wonder tart, she can then take heart us all to the bakery. Chef Salt Baker has a plan, the best tart maker in the land. If they're expedient with the ingredients.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Cucco Attack episode 29. I am your host, Chad Hembrock. With me as always,
Patrick Hughes here.
As
And
well as...
our cheap friend.
So we've got some updates for games we've been playing. We've got news on the Super Mario Brothers movie, our opinions on that. Some PS2 VR news, as well as a quick recap of Game Awards, as well as our betting spectacular for the Fantasy Critic Game League betting special that we did earlier. And then the main topic will be...
Easy to remember.
What's that?
I make that name very easy to remember.
The betting spectacular. But no, big news here. We're going to talk about our top 5 games played in 2022. Not that they came out in 2022, but games that we played in 2022. There might be some overlap there, but yeah, let's get into it quick so we're not doing a 2-hour podcast tonight. So, with that said, games we've been playing. Do you want to go over this? You want to start?
Yeah, I can get us rolling. At least with a couple games multiple of us have been playing. Like, it finally arrived. I had ordered this game over a year ago. It was a game that was only going to be released physically, and that was that weird Demon Throttle game.
Yeah, the game is awesome.
Yes, and it's definitely best played as a co-op game. In fact, I think it's almost impossible to beat if you try to play it by yourself, but or at least to get the true ending. But if you ever heard of this game, it's basically like one of those like vertical scrolling space shooter games, except instead of as a spaceship, you're like a cowboy and a vampire.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a Akari Warriors, but without the like diagonal shots that you'd get with like a rotary stick, which is how that game was played in the arcade. There was a bunch of SNK games like that. There was the Akari Warriors games. There was a Guerrilla War was one. I had that on NES. I loved that game as a kid. But it's kind of like that. There's some other ones too. Even like the first Metal Gear was kind of like that, vertical scrolling, going through shooting stuff. But yeah, so that's what it's like. 4 stages. Patrick brought it over to my house, and the first time I played it, it was just so much fun. Like it definitely scratched that retro itch, but had like enough new stuff going on to make it feel like refined and not like broken. It doesn't feel like a broken like 8-bit game. It was just fun. I don't know. It felt really, really well done.
Really tight controls and just interesting. Like even every time you play and lose, like it unlocks something new and different. Although sometimes it's like unlocking harder difficulties, and you're like, why? I don't need this game to be harder, but okay.
Yeah, like for example, there's like a mode that'll start enabling like weather issues in the game. So basically it makes it harder, like randomly on a level, you'll have like a snowstorm, or you'll have wind and rain, or you'll have rocks falling from the sky randomly. Like, every level has its own unique weather to it, but it would just be random if it was on or not. And then there'd be like random like speedy demons where everything's like way faster, and it's just like, and even like there's no way to control it. It's just once you unlock it, that's what it is. So obviously the more and more you play it, you get used to it. Patrick and I beat it, mostly due to Patrick, because he usually cleans up all the slack, picks up all the slack that I when I die, either right before the boss or at the beginning of the boss. But no, it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun game. We beat the game, but there's a second ending.
We got the bad ending.
Yeah, we got the bad ending. There is a second ending that we've gotten, like, I think we were only a few hits away from getting that ending,
We must have
but
been so close.
we were really, really close, but we haven't been able to do that yet. But regardless, the game kept us playing it over and over again, trying, because that's how much fun it was. So we will be talking about this game later as well.
Oh, cool.
As a
All right.
spoiler alert.
And then another game that both me and Chad played, which may be part of the discussion later, but we've been playing God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah. We can just
yeah.
talk about that one later, I guess. Like,
Yeah, we'll save that for later.
yeah, I'll just say, like, I'm sure if you've played 2018, you're waiting for this, and you're playing it now, and it's more of the same in a good way. So go from there.
Yeah. And the last game we all played, which was kind of a surprise announcement from the Game Awards, and with a demo available now, we downloaded the Forspoken demo. Mainly out of curiosity.
I love that Sidish is upset that we were talking about this.
Oh, we have to talk about this.
You just want to be negative.
No, this was important research for our fantasy
Whatever.
league.
Okay.
Well, me
Okay,
and
so-
Chad are in the same opinion.
So who played it first?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go over.
In order.
Let's
That makes
go in
sense.
order
That makes sense.
of who played it first.
So I downloaded it, booted it up, and wasn't really feeling like the story or just like little intro cinematic I was playing. I was like, whatever, let's get to the game. And then like walk 10 feet to an enemy. It has these weird pop-up tutorials, and then I'm like pushing the buttons for the combat it's telling me. I'm like, this feels bad, and I took a few hits, and I'm like, no, I don't like it. Turned it off, uninstalled it. That was my experience. I was like, nope, I'm out. And then I believe Sadish was the next one to test it out and then have a very different opinion.
Yeah, I found it perfectly fine. I mean, the tutorial is extremely lacking. It just gives you like really basic movement. And basically like push this button to shoot and this button for something else. But like I actually like, spent time playing the game instead of just quitting right away. And some of the controls are intuitive, but I did have to go into the settings, not the settings, just like into the normal menu, not the settings menu, but like inventory and all that stuff, powers and whatnot. I actually like read what everything does, and there's some stuff in the HUD that they never explained that I was like trying to figure out what they meant. So once I got all of that down and I knew what the powers did, then it was fine. I don't know if Patrick and Chad got this far, but
Definitely not me.
the gameplay or the fighting appears to how should I word this? The goal obviously is to take down your enemies, but also to do it in a somewhat stylish, speedy fashion, and it gives you a score after you beat like a bunch of enemies.
Like, Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or something.
I feel
Right.
like those games are a little more satisfying based on.
And
Mainly on the like combo
yeah.
fashion. Yeah.
And based on the on how well you did, I mean, as the game sees you doing, you gain more experience and more like resources or other somethings. There's actually quite a lot in the demo if you start like exploring the area. And I only played it about like an hour and a half. And I already unlocked a few powers, like different ones, and yeah, it's got potential. You're kind of put into the demo at a higher level than you probably start at. So I think that's the main problem there, because you're not like introduced to your powers. You're not living with them right away. You're just like, here's a huge set of power sets, and just play. And you're like, I don't know what to do. So
Yeah.
if you put in like, I don't know, 10 minutes to just like read everything, then you're good.
No.
So I got your guys' text, and there was the differing opinions, and I was like, all right, well, I have to try this now.
Chad had to be the determining factor.
So I loaded it up, and I actually, I played it on not the normal TV I game on. So right away, I was definitely having issues like reading the text on the screen. It was like super small, and there was no accessibility options to increase it. You could turn on closed captions, but you couldn't adjust font size from what I found in the menus. I even ended up changing the system font on my PS5, and that didn't affect the game at all. So that's just one thing. I know some people, I typically don't do that because I'm playing on, 100-inch projector behind me, but this was on a 55-inch TV about 20 feet away, and I couldn't read the text on the screen. And, I wear glasses, but I had my glasses on, so I still couldn't see it. So that was just, my first, instant takeaway. I was like, oh, so I got up and, started squinting and, reading what it was telling me to push and everything. And, because there's definitely one point, like Patrick said, you freeze, when an enemy pops out in the beginning of the demo, it freezes and gives you, a little pop-up window. And it's push this, and I was, on the couch, pushing what I thought it was telling me to push, and then I got closer and was like, oh, it wants me to push that, because it was so tiny on the screen. So anyway, I got through that, and it was, push X or circle to parkour around, and I was like, all right. So I started kind of doing that, and it just felt weird. I don't know. It didn't feel, fluid. And, but then I started kind of experimenting, jumping off things, and I did notice that I could start scaling up a mountain, which is always something since Breath of the Wild. I've always, I liked being able to go anywhere. That's been one of my biggest complaints in open world games. And this did let me do it, but it was very janky. It was kind of hut, 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 and you'd freeze halfway through, but then you could jump again. It was kind of like you were it's kind of like you were cheesing it almost, like you were going up and just kind of getting stuck on a polygon and then being able to jump again. But all said, I could do it, and I was like, all right, that's fine. And then the attacks was just kind of the same, hit R1 a bunch, shoot magic stuff. It's kind of annoying to me with the like I told Patrick earlier, it's this stereotypical Arabian Nights genie sound, every time you threw magic, and it was just getting kind of old and annoying. I don't know, the controls, the camera felt laggy on my end. If I used the left stick or the right stick to move the camera around, it felt I couldn't get it precisely where I wanted it, without hitting it 3 or 4 times. And then when it came to the combat was okay. It did feel kind of like Bayonetta or something like that. You could dodge, roll, and then you're just shooting hordes, and you could lock in on them just like in God of War. You lock in with the right stick, and then you could focus and stuff like that. But I actually played it up to the point there's a big witch or something on a bridge. I don't know if you played that, Siddish. Is that where you got to?
No, I was exploring. I found a cat shrine and a floating cat with a unicorn popped up.
I just found a hut with a bed in it, and a water garden or something like that. It was the first thing that was you run into, and then but then I don't know. I was trying to do the parkour stuff, but then I jumped off the bridge expecting to I couldn't tell what was my health and what was my parkour energy. I was having trouble figuring out what was what when I was doing it. But again, I could barely see the screen because everything was so small. And but yeah, I played it a little bit more. Just kind of, I did jump to the bottom of the bridge, and like I felt like I took a big hit when I did that, and then like my energy regained, and I just kind of explored for a second, and I was, that's when the camera kind of became too much, and I was just like, I don't think this feels good. So yeah, I also uninstalled and hid from library, so I don't see it anymore, because I don't think I'm gonna play that, but it just doesn't interest me either. I don't know, like Patrick
That
and I
shouldn't stop you from picking it first in your fantasy league, please.
So Patrick and I also talked about, like, I kind of remember when they he mentioned it about the when they were pushing like the voice actress in the trailers last year. Like, they were just like really, really hard pushing on the voice actress, and like I've always been I feel like when games do that, when they try to like push like a certain person being in the game, it's typically a red flag for me, and it's been pretty true, honestly, in the last like year or two with games that we've looked at with like review scores in our fantasy league. So they don't typically get the best reviews. So that's kind of my golden rule, is not to pick up those games or play them. But I don't know, it didn't really, I remember when he mentioned that, I do remember the trailer, and I remember just being like, like it was just kind of like normal girl gets magic powers, jumps around between like cliffs, and does that. I don't know, it just didn't.
I'm not sold on any of the concept, or like what am I supposed to find engaging here? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's that's a demo. Don't know if the demo is going to be the final product, of course, but
that comes out next month. So.
I say the biggest thing for me though was just the way that like everything felt kind of laggy, and maybe it was playing it on the TV upstairs. I did make sure I was in gaming mode before I played, just to make sure that there was no input lag.
Well, I said to switch it from
yeah, you did mention that today.
From quality to performance mode, because
Yeah.
it has three settings. It has like the full quality, which is 4K, and then ray tracing, and then performance mode. And I tested all three, and the quality and the ray tracing does drop your frame rate, probably to like locks it at around 30.
Yeah.
But performance is definitely the way to go, as is with most games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would have done on auto, because like I don't have a 4K TV, and I mean the ray tracing's in the PS5, so that's whatever. But yeah, but regardless, like, I mean, I don't know, that was like probably my biggest complaint. Other than that, it's probably just not a game for me. But just based on what I felt playing it, I was kind of like, I don't know about this one. So yeah, that's an uninstall for me. But
yeah, 2 uninstalls, and it's fine.
yeah.
It has potential.
Yeah, it has potential. I mean, it's just a demo right now.
Yeah. So
Just a demo that's 1 month out.
yeah, that's true. It's like what, January 24th or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty close. It's like, yeah, it's like 30 days away.
I don't think it's gonna change much in that time.
Not likely.
I mean, these demo builds are usually like
That's true. Sometimes they.
much farther ahead than anywhere near the completed games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. So, all right. I guess so that covers what we've all kind of been playing. I guess this next game, Sadish is also currently playing. I played the 2018 God of War. Tried to knock that out before Ragnarok came out. So, I kind of been playing it on and off for like 2 years. But I only played like I played like a few hours and then put it down and never got back into it, but then finally made that decision to go back and get into it. And at first I wasn't really into the story, but then it finally just started kind of like pulling me in, and I wanted to know like more about Kratos and Atreus, and then all the lore with Mimir and all that stuff. Like, I just wanted to start picking it all up the more and more I played it. So I know Sadish is playing it right now, so I know he already kind of knows the story and everything, but it was good. It was really, really good. I liked it. Was glad that I was able to finish it right before Ragnarok. I mean, I struggled with combat at first, but eventually when, got yelled at by Sadish for not parrying, that kind of angered me, but then made sense, and then kind of changed my tactic on a lot of stuff. I started taking a little bit of a step back and going into fights a little slower rather than just, balls to the wall, going in, trying to melee everything. So, yeah, I don't know. I did really like it. I think the credit scenes and the ends were like super long, because like that last part, Patrick's like, oh, you probably have like 2 hours left, and it was really like 30 minutes of gameplay, and the rest was just kind of like walking. But I mean, that's the thing, these new games, like I haven't played a lot of games like that, and they're basically, the game's like just a massive movie. It's presented very well. The cinematics are beautiful. Everything's shot very, very well. Like it's all presented to you beautifully, but it's almost like a 70-30 movie to gameplay and like dialogue, because a lot of the time you're just kind of on a path going, unless you start venturing off into the side quests, which that's when you get more, I feel like, more gameplay out of it. But if you just follow the main path, I feel like it's more of just kind of like, you have your boss battles, your mini bosses, and a few puzzles, and then the rest of it's all just kind of presenting that massive story to you with some quick time events and everything, which is fine. I mean, I still enjoyed it. So, do you have anything?
I sometimes like the side stories even as much as the main story, just and how like seamless it is, how they tell it, like how they can pick it up and drop it at a whim.
Yeah.
And if you're like rowing in your boat or kind of walking around between little adventures. So
yeah, that was always something that I noticed too. Like you said, you'll be in the boat and they'll be telling a story, and then it's like they'll be like, oh, enough about that. But then as soon as you get back in the boat, Atreus will be like, so what were you saying about blah blah blah? And it's like, oh yeah, they were talking about that, and then they pick it right back up. So it's really well done. Like, I love the dialogue, the characters. Like, I loved all the characters in the first one, and then like it only got better with the second one, in my opinion. Like, a lot of the dialogue and stuff, I don't know, and like kind of the personalities of the characters developed, and yeah. But we'll talk more about Ragnarok later. But yeah, it's just, I really liked it. I'm glad I finally got to experience it, and I experienced it for free. So as being a PS Plus member, it was great. So for not having a PS5. But do you have anything to add, Sadish? Like, I know you're in the middle of playing it right now.
No. Yeah, I'm still in the middle.
It's a lot harder than you thought it would be.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I tend to play games on super hard difficulty from the beginning anyway. But yeah, the difficulty wise, I don't know. I think the thing about it is okay.
You were comparing it to Star Wars Jedi, right?
Right. So Star Wars Jedi,
being super
Fallen
loud.
Order.
Yeah.
That was difficult, especially because it's like a Souls-like kind of gameplay, fighting. So God of War has a tiny bit of that in that you actually have to like pay attention to your enemies, and and sort of, you don't bait them. You kind of just you parry or whatever. You need to keep track of what attacks they're using. But I'd say Fallen Order was one of the hardest games I've ever played. God of War, something about God of War, I think it's just the fact that Kratos is not fast.
No.
So that really like irks me a little. And I think that's one of the reasons why I expect him to be fast. So I always, parry too slow, or move out of the way too slow, or dodge too slow. So I've definitely died a lot more in this game than I'd say any other game ever.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, I had a lot of, like, I feel like parrying sometimes, I feel like, I don't know if it's just me or if, like you said, he's slow, like, my timing is just, like, way off. Like, I'll see the yellow circle come up and I'm like, oh, and I hit it, and it's like, I'm already getting hit before it even tries to do it.
Well,
I'm
I don't have any problems with the yellow circles. It's the other attacks. The ones that don't give you the yellow circle.
Yeah, I mean...
Those ones, like...
You kind of have to read it, like...
Yeah.
It's funny, I really like the way Kratos feels in his kind of slow, bulky movements.
Right.
Maybe that's me as a, like, Donkey Kong player, but I like that kind of, like, heavy character.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I'm not a big fan of the heavy character. That's why, like, I never got into, like... What is it? Killzone? Is that the one that's for the PlayStation?
I never tried the Killzone series.
But I've heard good things about it, and I tried playing it, and just the dude is just like boom, 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 and lumbering. And I'm like, oh, I can't do this. That's why I love games like Destiny or Fallen Order, because like because it's quickness. There's a quickness to every action. To me, I consider it as responsive. Like it's responsive to my inputs. So when they're slow, it's just like get over there already kind of deal, and it's just that the impatience gets to me.
Did you unlock the blades yet?
No, not yet.
So that's when I unlocked.
I haven't even gotten up to the top of the first mountain.
Okay. So when I unlocked the blades, that's when I enjoyed the game like way more. Like I feel like because the blades just kind of give you that like whip effect around you, so you can kind of like when you've got hordes coming at you, you can kind of just like turn you hit the left stick and just kind of like spin and just kind of take everything out for a second to kind of give you some breathing room, and that definitely like helped with that. Yeah, I don't know, that was just one of my like that completely changed it for me. Like I kind of forgot I had the axe once I got the blades, but the axe is definitely better for like heavy attacks, like if you need to like break like armor or like fight somebody that had like a rune to count on them or something like that. It's usually faster to use the axe, but yeah, I don't know, I liked it a lot, and I was glad that I was able to knock it out before Ragnarok, and had a little breathing game there. I played Toem, which Patrick and Siddish both played before me. I liked it. It was fun. Nice little chill puzzle game, taking pictures. I should go back and just 100% it because it was kind of a fun, chill game, and it doesn't seem like it'd be too hard to platinum.
Definitely not.
And yeah, and I think I had like 60 or 70% of it done anyway, just from the main game. I tried to take pictures of everything I saw, but as I went through, but there was definitely stuff I missed, and
there's a free little expansion island that they released for it too, so you have an extra world to enjoy.
Cool. Yeah, I have to check that out then, because it was really good. I did not put it on my top 5, but I did enjoy it. It was just kind of that filler game, because like I beat God of War like a few days before Ragnarok came out, so it was kind of like, what do I do next? Oh, this is like a game I can beat in a night, sort of thing. So, but
good filler, calm down game after raging.
Yeah, lots of raging. So, but I'm just happy that my controller survived both God of War games. Barely. So.
All right. So a few other games I've been playing real quick. I finally, after all these years, after playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, went backwards and played the original Final Fantasy VII, and it was cool. I actually really digged it. It was kind of weird and surreal playing as these like chibi polygonal versions of them. Like, it was very rudimentary or basic compared to what the remake achieved. Like, I'm so glad the remake exists, but the original still had so many interesting ideas. Like, that entire game is just like weird idea after another, and it really keeps your interest going in that sense. And I will also just thank God that this version included a fast forward feature, so I did not have to watch Sephiroth blow up the entire solar system multiple times.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I played it on the original PlayStation 1.
Me too.
So I had to live through that.
I can only imagine the pain of
Oh
that
my
fight.
goodness. That alongside using the Knights of the Round summon, which is the longest summon ever in Final Fantasy, I'd say. Don't take my word for it. I only played Final Fantasy 7, 10,
Yeah, and I didn't end
12.
up finding that. So.
so 13. So, but like, oh, yeah, it's a lot of just sitting and waiting for Sephiroth to pound you into the dust.
It's funny, man. Like I played it and I beat it on PS1. I had a greatest hits copy. I remember buying it at Target because like I was like,
Yeah, I had the greatest hits copy also.
Because like as soon as those $20 PS1 games came out, I was like, yes. I like jumped on it. I was getting like a bunch of these games, and I remember like playing it nonstop. I remember spending the night at like my mom's friend's house. Like I don't know. I think my mom went out like with her friend, and I stayed at her house because her parents lived there, and they were just gonna like watch me with her kids. And I just remember like bringing my PS1 so I could play Final Fantasy 7 with me, and I remember playing it there. And I remember like taking it to my grandparents' house and like playing it like in the dark all day, like literally like in the basement, no lights on, playing it all day. I remember like beating a disc in like a day and coming upstairs like 8 hours, 9 hours later, and just being like, it was dark downstairs all day, and then I came upstairs and it was nighttime, and it was just like the weirdest feeling in the world. But like that's what I remember of playing it. I don't remember the game. Like I remember like the like intro, like what you play in Final Fantasy 7 Remake, like that initial like, you know, tower scene, like when you're going into the generator and stuff like that. I remember that part, but yes.
Those were the really just impressive parts, I'm sure, like for its time.
Yeah, and then of course, you know, when what's her face gets murdered by Sephiroth, like I remember that, of course, because like I remember when it happened, I was like, oh my god, what, like, just
yeah, it was crazy because there was like no reason to suspect that was gonna happen when I was playing it, even though I know it happens. But it was like trying to get in the mindset of like, if I was playing this for the first time, like,
yeah.
Is there any clues or anything? I'm like, no,
zero clues.
No.
And
Yeah.
the thing is that like when I played it, I put a lot of time into Aerith.
Yeah.
So it was like
She's
for
such
her
a
to
good
just like,
character too. Yeah.
huh?
She was such a good character.
Yeah, I mean, she's a freaking healer.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time keeping her on my squad and leveling her up for that to happen. So it was, not only did I get emotional because of what happened on the screen, but I got emotional just because of how much freaking time I spent on her.
Yeah, right in the belly. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I just think it's funny, like, you know, that was the only Final Fantasy game I ever played. I mean, I think I tried like Mystic Quest, and I tried maybe Final Fantasy 2 or 3 with my friend, like as kids, but like, let's be real, like playing RPGs with friends, like back then, it was kind of like, I could do it now, like, you know, I've done it like streaming with you, playing like Mario RPG, or, you know, Paper Mario stuff, and Earthbound. Like, I can totally do it and watch you play. Like, I watched you play Chrono Trigger and loved it. But like back then, I couldn't stand just sitting there watching somebody play something. It was just not for me. So anytime we had like sleepovers and played RPGs, I was just like, no, you can play your own thing. I'll play my own thing over here. Like, Like we had 2 TVs set up and we'd just do it that way. Or I'd play Game Boy, or we'd like take our computers to each other's houses while we played other games. But yeah, Final Fantasy 7 was always like the only one that I actually like got invested in and loved it. I did love it, and I was like super excited for 8, and then didn't like 8, and then was super excited for Chrono Cross, and then Final Fantasy 9, and then just kind of like played like hours of both of them, and that was it. Like never finished them, because I think by that point I just started getting sick of like the PS1 loading times and random battles. Like that got really tedious. Just like you take 2 steps and you hear that disc spin and it go and it's like, no. I just want to get to the town right there. Yeah, but it's definitely a different time.
Definitely more of an action RPG person. So.
Yeah, like Chrono Trigger was the first RPG I ever beat, like start to finish. Like it was the first one I ever played, and like got sucked into the story and loved it. And then Final Fantasy 7 was the second, and that was really it, honestly. Like I never beat an RPG after that until probably Paper Mario and Earthbound, like within the last 3 years. Like just because I played Final Fantasy 10. I played that up until you had to play Blitzball or whatever, Blitzball, whatever the hell it's called. I hated that.
Blitzball.
Blitzball.
Are you kidding me?
I hated it.
My gameplay stopped at Blitzball because that's all I ended up playing.
Yeah, I hated it. I don't know. I just horrible at it. Couldn't control Squall or whatever his name was, and like,
Squall
was like flipping around. I was just like, I lost. I hate this. I'm not playing this anymore. And like, but then too, like that game came out when I was in like 11th grade, and all I was doing was skateboarding and playing Counter-Strike, and like I was stoked for I was super excited to play Final Fantasy 10, and that's why I started playing it. But then once I started getting to the points where I wasn't having fun, I was like, I'm just gonna go play Counter-Strike now, and I'm gonna go skateboard. I don't care, and I just put it down and never touched it again. So, but that was a good rant for Final Fantasy 7. Sorry.
There you go. That's alright. But yeah, no, it was a cool game, and I was surprised how much I ended up caring about these little polygon characters. So they did a good job of making you care for these characters. Good story. All right, and then I played a bunch of like kind of spooky-ish games for Halloween. The only one I kind of want to mention that I thought was pretty cool that surprised me was this game called Darq. Although it's spelled with a Q. I don't know if it's like German or something, but Darq. But basically, it's kind of a very Tim Burton aesthetic. It's all black and white and kind of like almost claymation-y looking. He plays this character in like a black and white striped shirt who's bald, and he's like walking through all these kind of like nightmarish landscapes, but it's a kind of like puzzle platformer, and that you like walk along the walls and ceilings to like navigate these environments. And
Are you walking
puzzles.
along like shadows and stuff? Is that what you're?
No. Like it's a very 2D side-scrolling game, but all of a sudden you'll be like at a ledge that goes like 90 degrees down, and instead of falling, you'll like all of a sudden the camera will rotate 90 degrees, and you'll just slowly walking vertically. And,
Okay.
yeah, and they come up with some really unique kind of navigational puzzles. It's more like the puzzle is more the environment than the actual like finding puzzles within it. It's just like how to navigate it, which is cool. And it comes with some really kind of fun scares too. Like I don't want to spoil too much, I'll just try to describe one, but there's like this one puzzle that you like have to get this ball into a hole by like rotating the whole puzzle, and it kind of like falls around, and you're like, okay, that doesn't seem too hard. But then all of a sudden the camera starts spinning around and you can't see the puzzle anymore. You're like, oh wait, what am I doing? And as the camera's rotating, you see this other figure like slowly approaching you. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta solve this puzzle before that figure comes to me. Oh, stop spinning, I need to see. Oh no, my gosh, it's so close to me. It's just like, yeah.
Was that on Game Pass?
Was was that on Game Pass? I'm trying to remember. No, I think that was one game I picked up free a while back on Epic.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I played that in October.
Okay.
So, but it's definitely cool. I think it's worth looking up some videos or checking it out if it looks, because I think it was fun. So it surprised me. And then the last two games, I'll kind of save the talk for later, just because I'm gonna give them kind of like honorable mention shout outs for our top 5. Didn't quite make the top 5, but I think they're worth mentioning. So
Cool. All right. Sadish, you got anything to add about Destiny? Since I know you've been playing that, anything?
No, not really. The new season's begun, and it's more of the same grind and whatever. The new Lightfall DLC is gonna come out in February, so that's gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna get new subclass. We're gonna head up to Neptune and meet some
Neptunians?
crazy, like Guardian-esque other people, which is like apparently the thing is that like okay, so this is stuff that this is lore. Okay, so this is lore. It's a little bit of lore.
I'm listening,
So,
but I'm gonna go get a
During the
drink.
Golden Age, when the Traveler had arrived, before the darkness arrived, humanity spread across the solar system, and then the darkness came for the Traveler, and then when that happened, we had I forget what the thing was called, the collapse. I believe that's what it was called. Basically, sort of like Armageddon-ish, whatever. But so majority of the solar system, or all the solar system, was hit by it, and all the Golden Age tech and whatnot, reverted back to it became like feudal lords and stuff, light bearers, had their own like kingdoms and whatnot. But anyway, and now it's come back to like modernish, not our modernish, but their space modernish times. but off on Neptune, the darkness never happened, or the collapse didn't happen. So the human race kept on advancing. So we're gonna end up going there, and we're gonna probably meet some new people. I forget what they're called, but they're like Guardian adjacents. Like Guardians use the power of the light, gifted to them by the Traveler, to do all their wondrous stuff. But then on Neptune, there are these people who have they're soldiers, and they've sacrificed like half of their lifespan to gain like powers equivalent to that of Guardian. So we're gonna end up meeting them and fighting Callus and the Witness and all that stuff, whatever. And words and terms that you don't care about. But the thing about it is the fact that it's starting to get near-ish to the end of Destiny.
all right.
Yeah.
Until they make it Destiny 3.
No, there's not going to be a Destiny 3. Originally, the plan was to make a Destiny 3, but now that it's become more
Game as a service.
game as a service, with these DLCs and whatnot, then it's just like Destiny 2 just keeps on iterating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely modified that game so much from what it was originally.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
kinda...
unrecognizable, except for like just amazing gunplay.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, out of every like shooting game I've played, like nothing compares to how good Destiny feels.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that was the thing for me with Destiny is like it immediately was like, this feels like Halo. This feels great. Like that was yeah, and that's exactly what it was. Like controls were tight, everything felt great, and that's what kind of sucked me into playing it. It was so much fun to play with people, and I totally understand why you like it so much, because I was there in D1. I played the hell out of it in
also,
D1.
So... like Chad, you remember like when I came to work with you guys, I was complaining about Destiny. I was like, oh, I'm gonna quit this game. Because it was just me. But then I found, a clan.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just like, well, I'm stuck in Destiny now because I have a group of friends to actually like play raids with and end game activities with.
Yeah, because we
which
were
you can't
playing.
really do by yourself.
Yeah, because
That
we
is
were
a
playing.
factor.
We were playing. James and I were playing on Xbox, and then we had, I had some other friends too. So, we were always talking about it, about what Zur had, and all this stuff for the week and all the weapons, but like we couldn't play together. So it was like, But I don't know. I am definitely glad I don't play it anymore because I feel like it would just consume me in the sense of like you have to play it so much to like, to. You have, you know what I mean? Like you have to keep playing to get all your stuff to stay like relevant. And
But also, I mean,
I
you don't
found it
have
funny.
to. So here's the thing that I think it's a lot of people are gatekeepers about it, but you really don't have to. As long as you meet minimum power requirements, it doesn't matter. Like the reason people grind is for like that specific like weapon drop.
yeah, I mean, I
That
get
specific armor drop. But if you don't have it, it doesn't matter. Like I'm a bit OCD about it. You've seen me, show you guys my armor loadouts and how the stats have to be a certain way. But the people I play with, they don't care. They just pop on whatever armor works, and if like the weapon has even one perk that's cool, then they'll use it. That's the thing. Like some weapons are just good, and the perks just make them better.
that. Yeah.
And as long as you're doing with that, then it's good. I mean, there's meta and everything, and I start getting angry about it because going to Crucible and it's like all these people using these cheap weapons, and it's just like, oh, this is not fun. How is this fun for you? Because it's the same boring thing. While here I am using some scuff loadout. It's fun though because like you outgun someone with your scuff loadout against like this meta weapon loadout, and it's like, dude, it's like what's the point? And it's even funnier when you're just like creaming them, right? And then like halfway through the match, you start seeing meta weapons start coming into the enemy team because they just can't seem to handle playing unless it's these overpowered weapons.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun because it's kind of a jerky kind of way of but yeah.
I was just gonna say it's funny how the PlayStation year-end reports came out, and your playtime for Destiny alone is greater than me and Chad's total PS5 playtimes combined.
Probably it's like more than my like entire gaming this year combined, like across all platforms. Because I'm probably at like 300 to 400 hours like all year. I mean, based on not even that, like less than that. Probably it's just like 200. So that's pretty crazy. Based on IGN's how to beat or whatever is like 208 hours is what my total playtime was for the year, but it's pretty nuts. But well, that was a long playlist for us, but we talked about our stuff, so let's jump to the next one real quick. We got some new trailers for the Super Mario Brothers movie, and that second trailer was awesome. Totally.
The second one definitely sold. I mean, the first one was cool, but yeah.
The first one sold me regardless. Like I'm gonna, I'm seeing this movie day one. It looks great. The animation was fantastic. Like everyone has like they're the Nintendo personalities, but they also have like the personality of like the actor kind of like built into it. Like Bowser's Jack Black is like, you can tell it's like Jack Black still, but like Bowser's still big mean Bowser, but he's kind of like sarcastic. Like he's got that thing, and they've got all the humor that they tossed in with it, with like the Koopas getting hit and like the snowball fight and like all that stuff they showed in the first trailer. It just carried over more in the second one with Mario and Donkey Kong, and like the biggest thing that shocked me was Mario Kart. I wasn't expecting to see anything Mario Kart related, so when I saw like him jump, like when Mario jumps over the thing, and then everybody's karting behind him, I was like, this is so cool. I'm so in. Like, I don't know. I kind of like, I show it to my son. Like, I've shown it to him a few times, and like every time we watch it, I get like kind of goosebumpy. Like, ooh, I can't wait. This is gonna be so cool. And like, I'm excited for him to see it because like, you know, we didn't have that as kids. Like, you know, we had the original one.
We had something.
So, but it's just so cool because it just looks like so much fun, and it's like, you know, it's not Disney, but like it's kind of got like, I kind of get that like Wreck-It Ralph vibe out of it, where like you're gonna see all the but it's like all the Mario universe coming together, like yeah. So it's kind of like that Wreck-It Ralph thing.
So many like
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs, yeah. Just very Mario specific, but that's still so much fun.
Yeah, like just everything, like when like the trailer opens with Mario walking out into a coliseum to fight Donkey Kong on the rafters, like Donkey Kong like rafters, but then like when he walks out, it's going Mario, just like Smash Brothers, and like it's just like it's so cool. Like I don't know, just how they tie it all together, and like. Even like the Video Game Awards had a new quick little clip, and it showed him walking through like Toad Town or something. It was like, and like the antique shop with like the 8-bit, like it was like antique shop, and it's like all the like the music box for Mario 3, and like just all these old items, and it's like this is so cool that like how they just tied it in to make it work, and it looks like it fit, and it makes so much sense to be this like sell it as an antique, like you know because it's old.
Yeah.
I don't know. That alone shows that they're taking so much care into making this movie like appeal to everybody, appeal to the entire fan base.
The clips specifically from the Game Awards, I'm super excited for like how they're handling the music for the movie, like how they get those underlying Mario tunes into the movie and make it fit so naturally. I'm like, oh, I'm just grooving and having a happy time watching this.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that movie. Like that'll definitely, like you said, it'll be like the return to the movie theater.
Oh yeah.
That'll be the
find a nice weekday to go see that. And, blame the whole theater for myself.
It'd probably be like impossible to go to see that by yourself, regardless of the day of the week when it comes out. Like the movie's gonna like. We all know, like, you know, Nintendo sells, like, everything sells billions, like, or, you know, millions or whatever. So, I mean, I could easily see this movie being, like, it's gonna be the top grossing animated movie of all time. I could easily see that.
Real.
I
doubt that.
You doubt that? I could totally see it happening. I could see it happening.
I do.
I could totally see it happening. Like, I don't even know what the, like, top grossing animated film is. Like, let's see. Top grossing, let's see, animated.
Lion King.
All time.
It's gonna beat $1.6 billion.
Wasn't it, like, Spirited Away, and then, like, after that Your Name movie?
Lion King, the remake, the new one. The new Lion King remake. Yeah, no, Mario will outdo that. Mario will outdo the Lion King.
No.
And Frozen 2.
Both of you are in Nintendo rose-colored glasses, so I doubt that.
But do you understand how crazy Nintendo fans are, though? Like,
It's
yes,
not
we.
that great.
Okay. Okay. I think it's gonna do incredibly well.
This isn't just Nintendo fans having to buy like one game. This is Nintendo fans having to buy a movie ticket for their entire families of kids that they've now raised and multiply that by
like Mario is the most recognizable like animated character in the world.
He's like the Mickey Mouse of video games.
Yeah. So I mean, he basically is. I mean, Mario's. Do you say bigger than Mickey Mouse these days? Like I'd say so because like
especially after this, like they are trying to brand Mario into a bigger and bigger icon. Like right now, he's kind of just like the face of video games, and now they're pushing into media and movies and merchandise and
Yeah, I mean it's
theme parks.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be that. So 1.6 billion worldwide too. So worldwide, even if like
No.
okay, we'll have to see, but that'll be a Reddit.
doubt it'll crack the
This
top
is the
50.
person who's saying Forspoken demo was good. I'm joking.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see it doing better. I could see it doing better. So, I mean, it's just it's Mario. It's huge. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm super excited to see this.
Can't wait. It's coming soon. Just a few more months here.
You know, we have a nice May. April we get the Mario movie. May we get Zelda. Yeah.
Living good. Next year, 2023. Good year. It's gonna be a good year.
Yeah. Let's knock on some wood there, because
It can only get better. The bar is low.
yeah, that is
Okay.
true. The bar is low. All right.
Speaking of ridiculous numbers, let's talk about the PSVR 2 and its launch price.
Yeah, $550. It's a bit much considering there's no backwards compatibility. I mean, the specs are good. The specs are good on it.
Looks like awesome tech for, like, I guess, high-end VR for, I guess, a reasonable price.
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
anything PC, like high-end, like you're looking at a grand.
Yeah.
Like Valve Index and HTC, and then like the new like crazy Oculus Meta stuff. If that's even coming out, I don't know. Is that still even a thing? Since I know they fired a bunch of people and they're like claiming the metaverse was a flop, which everyone said it was. I don't even know if that like $1,500 head unit's still coming out or not. But that wasn't even for gaming. That was like for workplace and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's a high price. I really wanted to play Astro on VR, so that doesn't really help me in that quest. Probably hold off on it unless something like amazing comes out for it, something exclusive. I don't know. I mean, I have to see. Maybe get a good deal down the road or
That's
whatever.
the weirdest part. They would have like very little incentive in the way of games. Like the only big name that they're trying to push with it is that Horizon.
Yeah, the
I can't remember what it's called.
mountain something.
Mountain Call, I think.
Call of the Mountain. Yeah. Yeah, that's like the big thing they're pushing, which makes sense because that's one of their biggest franchises right now.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Nothing's like. I already have a VR headset that I don't use. I don't need another one. You know, granted, my thing is like it's wired. I mean, this one's gonna be better because it's gonna have the cameras and stuff. You're not gonna have to have like the whole sensor and eye toy and all that stuff set up.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
those controllers look so much better than those wands that they had.
yeah. So like that's my thing with my Oculus. Like I've said multiple times, like having to set up sensors and like having a wire and everything just makes it a pain. I mean, granted, the PS5 will still be wired, but
Just one though now would be comparatively a lot simpler than what the previous one was.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I think I'm probably done with VR. Like I'll play once I get my area worked out. I'll have a little spot to play VR eventually again, and I'll get back into like some Beat Saber and maybe run through Half-Life Alyx again, and still have to check out Expect You to Die 2 and some other VR stuff that I've heard about recently. But again, it comes down to like I hate that VR. There's all these exclusive VR stuff. I wish it was all just if it's VR, it's available everywhere, and then you can just pick your
Yeah.
headset of choice.
Because VR is already such a like
Yeah.
niche market. Like,
Yeah,
why
it's-
segment it further?
You're segmenting it, and it's such a high cost of entry that it's like it doesn't help the case, so it's tough. I mean, as much as I would love to, like, you know, like I'd love to play Astrobot, but like, do I really want to buy a VR headset just for that right now? Like, no. But again, it's one of those things. Like, I think getting my Oculus was like, I always felt that way before getting it because I never played VR. Like, I just did demos. I'm like, it's cool, but I don't know. Like, I really needed to get my own headset and play different types of games to understand what VR can deliver. And that's the biggest thing with VR. It's 100% solo experience. I mean, unless you're playing like multiplayer inside of a virtual environment or whatever. But still, even then, like, I remember trying to play like Tabletop Simulator with you guys, and I was playing in VR. It was like so weird and like just didn't feel natural. It's like I'd rather just get on the mouse and keyboard and I don't know. It's just a weird thing. So yeah, it's probably a pass for me, at least for now. If they do a price drop, or if something like really groundbreaking comes out for it, maybe it'll be a consideration.
It needs some more incentive, either games or price or something.
Yeah, there's like nothing right now at all. Like I feel like if they even just announced like the old games would work on it, it would be like at least a little more reasonable. Like, you can understand, like, hey, I can't just play Horizon. I can play all this other stuff. Like, I can play all the Moss games, play Astrobot, I can play Tetris
Right now,
Effect.
they're only hurting themselves with this.
So I don't get it. Like, there's no reason for it. Like, I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't be backwards compatible unless it is just something with the way the games track. But again, on PC, you can play any of the old, like, you can play any of the old and any of the new VR games. There's nothing there that stops it, depending on how they control. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Sounds like they're just gonna make it a update later because they know they can sell it now, get people to buy the same game twice, and
Yeah, maybe.
it's gonna sell it anyways, so might as well.
Or they'll add a PS Plus VR tier, and then you just subscribe to that, and then you get all your PS VR games for a monthly cost. That might be the way to do it, honestly. It's not a bad idea.
And then everyone will be like praising them for fixing something that should have
Yeah.
been there at the beginning.
You can send my royalty checks to Cucco Attack Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a pass for me at that price.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
it was like 300 maybe, but like, yeah, 5's like rough.
It's so hard for me to swallow when I got the first VR set for 200 with 2 games. I'm like, what
Yeah.
a deal. What
Yeah.
a deal that was.
Yeah, if I could get the first one cheap, I'd probably do it. I've seen it in stores for like $150, but then like it's kind of like, do I still want to pay $150 for an old headset? And then I'll have to like get the adapter so I can hook it up to my PS5.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it makes more sense to just steal yours for a week and then play Astro and then give it back to you. So might have to do that. But yeah, I think that's all there's to say about that. So yeah, Game Awards.
Game Awards time.
Game Awards. Quick update on Game Awards.
Recap, some highlights. Yeah.
So the big thing for us with Game Awards was betting on who was going to win what for our fantasy league.
That's the main reason we watched.
Yeah. So our fantasy critic league is basically wrapped up at this point of the year, and we have a new champion.
We
Right.
announcing it live here.
Yeah, just go ahead and do it. Might as well.
Writer Games.
Writer
is
Games.
your new champion of 2022.
Yeah. Started off slow. We all started off slow. Objectionable content jumped out to a huge early lead.
Yeah.
Huge early lead with the with the strategy of picking games that actually had release dates and everything releasing within like the first 5 months of the year, something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything felt like one of the games he drafted was like released by June.
Yeah. So I came in last again. I had hope. I had hope. I broke 100 this year. That was a goal. I was.
Because you looked back at 2021, you're like, I only got 80 that year.
I had very high hopes going into the last 3 to 4 games of the season, and they all bombed. With those games being Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Valkyrie Elysium, which became our worst rated game of the year. So I will be playing that.
Yes.
And
I would hold up the copy for you to play, but it's in the other room.
And a very disappointing review score for Sonic Frontiers after the high praises it was receiving before it was reviewed. So definitely didn't get what I was expecting out of those games. And then also a kind of an expected counter pick of Stray kind of bit me. But really the Valkyrie Elysium getting -4, and then Pokemon and Sonic only getting 4 points total canceled it out. So it's like having 3 zeros. That didn't help me. So yeah, better luck next year. Zelda also not coming out this year, and Silk Song not getting a release date, so I could drop it and pick up Sports Story. That would give me a.
Which I'm still kind of wondering if that's even
Gonna happen now. Sports Story's even gonna come out this year.
December. We still have no date.
We have no date, and we have like 15 more days of December. So
unless they're just planning to shadow drop it on Christmas, like ho ho ho, here you go.
Maybe. I mean that was the last update the Sidebar gave us before they just announced December was a Merry Christmas update last year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
And
well, I should also say congratulations on your win as the betting special that we had for the Game Awards.
Yeah, so we did 15 categories, and I got 8 of them correct. So I was pretty happy with that. And I will be taking #1 pick of Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda next year. And that's all that matters.
Which as of looking at Fantasy Critic, the many drafts that are ongoing right now in other leagues, that is definitely the #1 pick across every league.
Yeah.
It's not even a question this year.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I can waste that pick or actually build a team around it and a developer. So look out for Banana Dye Donko next season. And
Funky kind of names.
Yeah.
Watch out.
So we'll see how that goes. But just some quick highlights from the Game Awards. We had an awesome performance from a flute guy during the orchestra.
Yes.
We had a very long acceptance speech from Kratos.
Yes.
That was
for
humorous.
Many Steam decks to be given away.
And of course, we had the rabbi formerly known as Bill Clinton, crazy Infowars kid that came out. But
yeah, that was weird and creepy.
Yeah,
it gives new dark humor to the previous joke in the show that someone in this room is a murderer.
Yeah, which they showed Reggie.
Both right and wrong. Oh, it was great when they showed Reggie and
yeah,
Kyle Bosman and stuff.
Yeah, so it was very interesting to say the least. I mean, I could definitely see next year having a bit more of a security presence. They're gonna have to you're gonna have to register who's gonna go on stage and have some sort of badge or something so they can make sure that the right people are going.
Honestly, it should just be industry only. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Kids can watch it from home or something.
Yeah. So But there was a bunch of game announcements. Death Stranding 2, Hades 2,
Yeah.
Dead
I wrote a
Cells.
bunch down that I don't think we have much to say about it, but
Yeah,
we should-
like the Dead Cells Return to Castlevania looked cool. I never played Dead Cells, but like just seeing the animation for like the Castlevania guys all going in, it was like really cool. Tying that
definitely
together.
surprised. Yeah, for sure.
The Bayonetta thing was out of left field for me, but according to what I heard on NVC last week, I don't know if you heard that. They said that if you beat Bayonetta 3 like the whole way through, it was kind of expected. So I guess there's something in there that kind of points to this.
Just
So
that one was one of the weirdest announcements to me. I don't understand who their target audience is for that. 'Cause
yeah,
I
well
don't
that's
think- yeah.
yeah, that's what they said in on the Nintendo Voice Chat IGN podcast. So I haven't
It's
played
not
Bayonetta 3.
60-time witch, and it's, even as it's like weirdly childish, like fairy tale graphics it's showing, it's a teen-rated game. I'm like, who are you selling this to? Who?
The same people who played Doki Doki Literature Club. I don't know, but yeah, I guess there's a bunch of other stuff. Like
It
go
looked
ahead,
interesting. I think the thing is you're expecting it to be like
Bayonetta.
existing people. So this is like a new, could bring in new people into the whole
Maybe.
Bayonetta thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. So there's some other games. There's a new Armored Core game coming out. Star Wars Jedi Survivors coming out.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but it looked cool. Then we've got a couple games that stood out that look cool. Earthblade looked awesome.
Yes, that's probably my favorite announcement of the show.
Yeah, that looked awesome. That's from the creators of Celeste, and it's like a mixture of like Celeste and Hollow Knight. Kind of like Metroidvania style with like the tight controls from Celeste, I'm sure. Like, I don't know, it looked really cool. Like, that was definitely
Just a big open kind of like world to explore and like 2D platforming, and it's that same killer music kind of accompanying it. And honestly, it didn't show that much, but yeah, just the fact that I said from the maker of Celeste, and I was like, yeah, I'm sold.
yeah. And that game Viewfinder looked pretty cool.
That did look cool.
That looked cool too.
We're always a sucker for a unique puzzle game.
Yeah. So that looked really neat. So other than that, that's pretty much what stood out for me and you.
There wasn't too much else.
No,
There
Nintendo
was
was like
Judas, which is from the makers of BioShock. I mean, I don't really know anything about it or care, but I know that was a big announcement.
mhm.
I'm sure Satish may be happy to hear about the Horizon Forbidden West DLC for Burning
Yeah,
Shores.
can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. I was hoping for some Nintendo drops, but
Oh,
I did
that was
watch.
the main part of the show.
I did watch, the YouTubers that I subscribe to play the hide and seek, Among Us hide and seek.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks like so much fun.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looked
And
pretty
you forgot
cool.
about Hades too.
I think I
we
mentioned
quickly-
Hades too. Yeah, just
Did you?
quickly talked about it. Yeah, I never played it. Like, I don't know, it didn't really appeal to me, but everyone says it's great. I mean, it was rated as one of the best games of the year. And
It did win many Game of the Year awards before, so that's a
And
big deal.
The sequel to Death Stranding.
yeah, that was the first thing I mentioned real quick. But
Oh,
I never
Obviously.
played the first one. And yeah, yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
More creepy
No,
baby
I mean,
hands. I don't
yeah.
know.
The thing is, I would like to play it, but I would like to play it if it was a free game.
I think more people were surprised at the fact that Kojima's next game is a sequel rather than something new. I think he's
Yeah.
like supposedly working on something else too.
I still want to know what this freaking astronaut night on the moon with a kid game they announced like at the very beginning of the PS5 is about. You know what I'm talking about? You remember?
do. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I have no clue what
Like
that game is.
it's just been silence.
Nah, I don't know. There's so many stuff. I'm like so out of the loop with like PS5 games, unless it's something massive that gets like.
You better start making your list. For,
Yeah, no, I've got a list. I've got a huge list of stuff
Okay.
based off of the Game Awards and based off of like when we were talking to Mike the other day, and like I mean that was older stuff, but still, just in general, like good games to play, and then looking at some of the lists you were showing me this evening and seeing some of your other picks and stuff and other people's anticipated games. There's definitely games that I remember hearing about that I forgot about that I saw in the last couple days, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of next year. So if it's anything like this year flew by. This was such a fast year. It was insane. Like, I can't believe that we're already through another fantasy season. And, like, we started. I felt like we just started the first league, and we're already getting into our third season now. It's kind of crazy. But, all right. Well, let's do this. We are at an hour 15.
Oh man.
We'll take a
Can we
quick
do
break.
this?
It's fine with me.
12:19?
We can knock it out real quick. But let's go ahead and pause it, and we'll get into our top 5 games of 2022.
And we're back. All right, with our Cucco Attack top 5 games played, not necessarily released, of 2022. And I'm gonna kick things off real quick, just with 2 quick shout-outs because. So this isn't part of the top 5, but I played like over 60 games this year, so it was very hard narrowing down my list. But 2 quick shout-outs. One, I want to give a shout-out to this game called Dandara. I think it was called like Trial of Fears. It's a Metroidvania game. It's really, really tight controls. Like, if this was just purely by game mechanics, it'd probably be my favorite game of the year. It's just really, really cool how you like flip around the walls and shoot, and just really unique combat. It's just really cool. The only reason it doesn't make my list is the world building didn't quite suck me in, and it was like very abrupt ending, so I was kind of disappointed at that aspect, but gameplay wise, so good. And then my second shout out is for Sonic Frontiers. Deserved more praise than it. Oh, the flack it got.
Did you actually beat it?
I platinumed it, sir.
Oh.
That's how you can tell I liked it. That game, I will admit, it has bad, really weird design decisions. Like you question the designers that many times throughout the game, but the good in the game, like it has some really epic moments. It's just like really high stuff. I just fell in love with it, and just the flow of the game, and just it was so much fun. Sonic, this is the direction it needs to go in the future, and I just respect you for being bold enough to finally try this. So
I have it on my Amazon list. I'm hoping to grab it. I missed the Black Friday sale. I should have just bought it myself, but
yeah, I got it on sale for $35, which is like
that's what I saw it. Yeah,
a worthwhile price point for that game.
it's kind of crazy because that price it came out like a week before that price came out. So because the game launched right before Black Friday, so it's kind of nuts that that's the way it worked out, but it probably worked out well for them for that reason.
Mhm.
So
I definitely think it's been selling record numbers, probably for that reason. But
yeah.
But yeah, with that, we can get officially to our top 5.
All right. So start with number 5. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go ahead and
All right.
do it. Okay. Are we doing round robin, or am I going to do all of them for me?
We'll keep switching, so we'll each do 5,
Okay.
and then number 4.
For number 5, I have Spiritfarer.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, I know you guys both played that this year.
Yes, that may be on my list too, in a different slot.
Yeah, out of the 3 of us, I definitely played the least number of games. So, out of the ones I have, Spiritfarer, I'm putting at number 5. Tell the truth, I mean, putting these in 1 through 5 order, maybe like 1, I definitely know 1 is, 1. But I'd say 2 through 5 are definitely just like...
It's tough.
They could be in any order.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
order is relative. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going based on like fun gameplay. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So Spiritfarer is just chill. Not a lot of action. Some satisfying. I like when games like are satisfying a little. That's why I like in God of War, like parrying. It's just satisfying to parry. Just and just like at that moment you parry. It's just like something satisfying about that. But yeah, for Spiritfarer, I put it at 5, just because it's a fun game. It's a chill game. It's beautiful, and it's got a touching-ish story for certain characters. Definitely some characters I was like, get off my boat right now. I don't like you. I don't care about your story. You're all jerks. So go. But yeah, it was fun. It's been a game that I wanted to play for a very, very, very long time, and got it for free. So yeah, it's fun. That's my number 5.
All right.
Cool.
Who's next? You or me, Chad?
I'll go. Okay. I'm putting Demon Throttle at number 5.
Nice.
I had so much fun playing that with you. A lot of it was just the gameplay, how we talked earlier, how things unlocked. It felt like a very polished 8-bit shooter, which is right up my alley. Didn't want to stop playing it. After you left and I didn't have a copy of it, I wanted to just keep playing it, and I didn't have it. I contemplated going to Best Buy and buying it because they did have a copy in stock. I still might pick it up, honestly. It is one of those, like, I think I might pick it up just to have it, like, in the collection, because I enjoyed it that much. And I would like to try it solo, even though I don't think I would do very well. I would like to continue and see how much better I can get at it. But I just really enjoyed the gameplay. It's fun, and it's short enough that, when we play together, it's like 25 minutes to run through to get to the final boss. And it's just, the way things unlock, and then you get like, you start getting power-ups, and money means stuff, and like it's really fun. Like, I don't know, that's my number 5 out of everything I played this year.
We didn't even talk about like the sense of humor and just how
great some of the moments are. Like, and that's something that's like, I don't even want to like,
which I should have spoiled.
Yeah, I don't even want to spoil it, but let's just say this: if you play it, when you see the final boss, that happened right in front of my son. And it was hilarious. Like, me and Patrick had a very big laugh over that. And, my son didn't know what was going on, but it just was perfect timing when he looked up at the screen from playing Mario Kart. But, yeah, that game was just a lot of fun. It was played at the right time and was exactly what I was looking for a good couch co-op game. And that's the thing, couch co-op has been, we don't get much of that anymore outside of Cuphead, which I guess you can give that an honorable mention on my end. We'll give it out to Cuphead DLC.
It deserves some
another couch co-op. Patrick and I ran through basically the whole game in a night, minus like I think it was like 2 extra levels for money. Like we didn't even get all the power-ups and stuff. And we got stuck for like an hour and a half on like the hardest. Like we just happened to pick the hardest boss first. But yeah, that was a ton of fun too. So I'll give that the honorable mention. And Demon Throttle will be my number 5.
Nice. All right. So my number 5, which I struggled deciding. Like I definitely have a top 4, but number 5 was always in flex. But I settled on Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Nice.
Earned my number 5 slot for this year, and that's just because it was an exceptional game from start to finish. Like I don't care that the first half of the game was like super easy. Super easy is fun sometimes, and it was just like adorable. I loved exploring the levels and finding secrets. But what really surprised me was just how awesome Kirby translated into 3D. It like works so well, especially for exploration, which is one of my favorite things in games. And the combat surprisingly worked well in 3D, especially when you get to the harder fights, the like secret bosses for the end game. There's some crazy bosses. It was like some of the crazy bosses I've ever seen in the game.
I watched you beat it, and that last battle
that was just the normal.
Yeah, that was the norm. That was insane. Like I looked at that and I was like,
even that.
I was like, could I even do that? Because I'm like I know it's a Kirby game, and that was kind of the reason I didn't pick it up, is because I played the demo and I was like, I don't know, it's a Kirby game. It feels so easy. That demo was so easy. I could just see myself getting bored of it. But like after watching you play it a bunch, it did look like a ton of fun. I just couldn't commit to buying it. Maybe if I find it cheap one day, I'll pick it up or something.
Sure, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But it is truly, it surprised me as a delight from start to finish. Just awesome exploration, combat, and I feel like I had something else I wanted to say about it, but yeah, I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed that game. It surprised me. And that's what you find with a lot of my lists, is games that surprised me in a way I did not expect. So, Kirby, number 5.
Yeah, and like, speaking of like my list though, like I played like 21 games this year, and it's a little tough. Like I have definitely 5 games that I really liked, and I'm picking them based on, like Sadish said, just games you had fun with. So like he said, they could kind of go in any order, except for like maybe like 1 and 2, or like maybe 1, 2, and 3. They're kind of solidified. I don't know. Maybe they can kind of jump around a little bit, but definitely like there's other games I could have added on here, but I wanted to put games that actually had some like substance to them, that were a little longer than some of the like filler games I beat, like Toem and like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, like stuff like that. Games that I've like ran through hundreds of times, and like, or games that I could beat in a night. I didn't want to include on this list, even though I did play some really fun games. But
I remember I wanted to say about Kirby. It nearly is either tied or very close to surpassing my favorite Kirby game of all time, which is Kirby 64. So that says a lot.
Yeah. Excellent.
It was great. It was just very, very great. For that series, it's been a long time coming for a game of that caliber.
Yeah. So, cool. All right, what you got for number 4, Sadish?
For number 4, I have Kenna, Bridge of Souls.
Spirits.
Another game that...
Yes.
What's that?
Bridge of Spirits.
Oh, Bridge of Spirits, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know why I have written down Bridge of Souls.
This is off to a great start.
Another game that I've been meaning to pick up. Thankfully, I got it.
You.
Yes. Patrick did gift it to me after he only played like half of it.
I had played
No, you
either
played
half
like
or 2/3.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
about half. Yeah, super fun, super beautiful. Like I said, I like the gameplay, and the gameplay. It's weird how my gameplay tastes have changed a little. Oddly difficult game to play. The battles is as I mentioned before, it's like God of War-ish or like Souls-like in that
It
you
is.
have to parry, you have to dodge, you have to keep track of of the attack patterns of your enemies to know when to attack. Um, difficult, difficult. Well, again, I play it on a higher difficulty than normal. So yeah, super fun. Just beautiful to look at. Good controls. All in all, excellent game. I really enjoyed it. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it to me it lived up to my expectations. So yeah, I loved it. Great game. Thank you, Patrick.
Love it. Yeah, I gotta give that game credit at least for like the visual, just animation and world building. Like,
Yeah, I mean
as
it's for I mean it's considered an indie game, but it's got like a AAA kind of feel to it also, the way it was marketed and everything.
a
So
debut indie game at that. This is that
yeah,
studio's first attempt. Yeah.
so it's just nice to have such a high profile game that's colorful and happy-ish, even though the subject matter isn't exactly happy-ish. Um, but it's just nice to actually have like very vibrant colors on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Chad.
Cool. Number 4, I have Banjo-Kazooie for N64.
Oh,
I've
that makes me happy.
I've tried to beat this game multiple times in the past on the original N64. I've always loved the intro to it. Like that is like that right there alone has made me like at least like fire it up and just play it, just because of the intro is just so goofy, and the music and just like the personality of like Banjo and everything. It just makes me laugh every single time. So I've tried playing it multiple times, like I said, and could just never get into it. But when it came out on Nintendo Switch Online, finally gave me that like, all right, it's portable now. I can play it whenever.
Portable save states. Yeah.
But with that being said, the save states were the biggest thing, honestly. Like the save states were huge.
There are like 1 or 2 areas that are kind of like unfairly difficult. Yeah.
I feel like the biggest thing I remember doing save states on was like walking across like the really thin things when you had to race to get to the top of the tree or whatever in that one world.
The engine room in the ship.
Yeah, with the propellers. So like those were like the main things that I remember, but those total huge help just to like yeah, it's cheap or whatever, but like I don't have time to sit there and just keep replaying this stuff over and over again.
Honestly,
like that's all it is. It's a time saver. You can do it. It's just a time saver. But I remember hating the camera, and it's fine. I say that you can play it portably, but honestly, I played majority of that game with the N64 controller for Switch on my computer or like on my monitor streaming it. But I mean, I did play a little bit handheld, but I really enjoyed it. It did a lot of things. Like once I got used to like the physics and controls of Banjo and like doing the moves with Kazooie and stuff like that, it definitely felt better than in my previous attempts. But like I've told you, Patrick, multiple times, just like they took stuff from Mario 64 and like fixed it. And one of my favorite things that you can call a fix is like not having to leave the hub world or leave to the hub world after you get a Jiggy or whatever. Like you could literally just in one playthrough of the level go through and get everything. Like up until you get to like when you have to go change between seasons and stuff, but like
that order was special.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way the game is made, but it's different still. It's like you're still not like you go in and like your progress is still made that you've done. But that just I really enjoyed that, and it made me. I remember saying that while playing it was like, God, Mario 64 was awesome. Like that's one of my favorite N64 games, but like leaving every single time, and having to come back in was a pain. But I understood why they did it is because the environment changed based on the goal you solved, and Banjo was just designed to allow you to explore and solve these puzzles and find these secrets and
I
stuff.
think that's the biggest distinction. Like Mario's more like a playground, while Banjo's more focused on like exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really did like that game, and it could be higher on the list maybe. It's hard to say because like I'm looking back at it now, and I played that game back in like January or February. It was one of the first games I played of the year, and it's hard to kind of judge it now. But based on my list of stuff, I think I have to put that up there as a really fun game that I really enjoyed. So.
Yes. Awesome. No, I'm just happy because that's like one of my favorite games of all time, and I finally got tried to play it. So.
Yeah, because the last time I played it was when you came to my house and we played it on the N64. I don't know if you remember that, and like I remember like getting stuck with the camera in the water,
in the water. Yep.
Just, and I was like, I can't do, and then like he drowned, and I was like, I can't see where I'm going. I can't do this game, and I just like gave up on it. But no, replaying it was definitely worth it. I don't know why it just clicked this time, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't as bad as I remembered it being, and I didn't have like a ton of issues with it. So
very good.
That's it.
All right. So, guess it's time for my number 4 pick now, which I believe is going to be what is technically my favorite game released in 2022 as my number 4 pick, and that is Tunic. Putting that as my number 4.
Nice.
And yeah, that game is something special. That I am in awe of like how smart that designer feels, because like I gotta give him credit. So for those who don't know, the game starts off what you think is a very traditional Zelda, exploring, swinging your sword, fighting magic medallions, whatever. And then all of a sudden, you've been collecting these manual pages, which is just a cool idea. That's such a neat idea and how they implemented it. And you're using the manual and you're realizing there's little clues in here, and all of a sudden the game turns into like an obscene puzzle game that's so brilliant. Like, the level of depth that it has, the puzzles that are in this game is so cool. It's like something out of The Witness, and it's just
it is.
So cool.
It's very similar to as far as I got in The Witness.
Yeah, and so just brilliant puzzles. I love how the game has all these little moments of like you find a little secret and you're exploring, and all of a sudden like double back and you're like, oh, that was there the whole time, and just those moments are so good. And the final puzzle of the game is just brilliant. So yeah, I gotta give the Tunic credit. It excelled in every asset of that sense.
Yeah, Tunic is also on my list, a little higher. So I can chime in on it now and just say it when we get there.
Sure.
But but yeah, like that was one of the first games in a really long time where I was writing notes. Like literally had like a book next to me with like all sorts of like arrows drawn and all sorts of different
I wonder if
directions.
it's this one or not. Oh no, it must be a different one. Darn.
Yeah, I don't know where mine is, but like
yeah.
But like Patrick and I were we were playing it around the same time, and he beat it. He beat it a little before I did, but like, yeah, I loved every part of it. Like I remember when we first started playing it, I kind of hated the combat. Of it, but then like
combat has its ups and downs.
But like once you get through like that the second fight. Well, I guess no. There's like the third fight. Like when there's like a boss rush kind of thing.
That was like the one bad part of the game.
Yeah, you had like this one little boss rush thing. However, the game gives you an accessibility option where you can just kind of beat it if you get stuck. And like
that is a hot tip for people. If you really don't like the combat, turn it down. You know, go
Yeah.
to accessibility and just enjoy the game for what its brilliant puzzles are.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that game was awesome. Like collecting the manuals and just like trying to traverse the map, and we're all having camera issues here tonight. It's like going out of focus like crazy. It's so weird. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it was a great game. Like once I started, you know, like Patrick said, once you discover like how all these clues kind of start opening up the world, it's like you're looking at every little detail of the map and finding so much more than what you were finding in the past. And
Yeah.
it's really good. Very well
The
done.
game is so cryptic and like no hand holding at all, which
Oh,
could be a
at
good
all.
or bad thing, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Just as it really forced you to like analyze and discover, make your own kind of discoveries.
Yeah, and I liked it, and I think that's one of the faults that against like why it didn't get more recognition at like VGA is because of how, you know, non-mainstream it was. Like it was a big game, it got good reviews, but like it's, you know, throwing somebody into it, like, I mean, I got stuck on it. I mean, there's a couple things I looked up because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I just I can't figure this out. And but yeah, I loved it. It was so much fun. And yeah, even the combat, like, that was difficult. Like, you weren't like severely punished. Like, you know, like you die right outside of where you die. Like, you didn't have to like
Or
backtrack.
where those statues were, which are pretty plentiful.
Yeah, so it was awesome. Highly recommend playing that if you haven't played it.
Yeah.
Very good game.
All right, Sadish.
That was 4, so number 3.
My
now.
number 4 and one of Chad's numbers yet to be discovered, but you're number 3.
All right, my number 3 is Need for Speed Heat. Yeah, it was a surprise. Not gonna lie, it's been a long time since I played a Need for Speed game, and again, another free game. Thank you, PS Plus. But yeah, we talked at length, at least Chad and I don't know if Patrick has chimed in on it, but like the last excellent Need for Speed game I ever played was
Underground.
Most Wanted. Huh?
Underground for me. I loved Underground.
Underground 2.
Underground was
Most
my
Wanted.
favorite. Yeah.
But yeah, so this kind of just like dropped in my lap, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try, and yeah, I found it to be extremely enjoyable. My my Destiny raid team joined in on it as well, and then we just started like racing together and everything, and before you know it, I was just like, I was having a lot of fun with it. At first, I thought it wasn't very good. Like the city didn't seem populated enough for me. But you know, but the gameplay is just so much fun, and it's just so satisfying. Again, the satisfying thing for me, you know, comes around for me. You know, just making those turns and everything, it's so good, so much fun. It's just a fun arcadey driving game, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. You get to customize your car like normal. You get a really schlocky story. You know, just, you know, held together by just tissue paper kind of deal. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. The cars are fun to play with. Basically, you can modify any car to do anything. That was just one downside for me. I do like certain things in boxes just so I can, like, you know, work around them. But yeah, a lot of fun. Surprised me how much I got into it. Yeah, and that was my number 3.
I want to make.
I'm definitely looking forward to Unbound. I want to play that really badly now. And it's got a pretty decent score. Actually, no, it doesn't anymore.
Say maybe I was gonna say maybe one day it'll be free on PS Plus and then so
Yeah.
you can play it.
But yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Go ahead, Chad.
So that was your number 3. My number 3,
Yeah.
and it could be my number 2. Honestly, I really love this game. Cyber Shadow. Cyber Shadow came out, I believe, last year.
I think so.
Yeah, it was last year. It was published by Yacht Club Games. And I always wanted to play it because it was like right there with like the Messenger vibes. And I loved the Messenger. Cyber Shadow was completely different than the Messenger though. Like as I started playing it. The controls felt so good in that game. The music, the level progression, the sense of accomplishment when like beating something in it. Because a couple times I got stuck on it, and like towards the end you're like climbing up this tower, and I just couldn't do it. And like finally getting it was just like like I was so happy like to beat that game. But I just kind of got on that kick of like, you know, I've always loved Ninja Gaiden. Love the
This was like Ninja Gaiden meets Mega Man. Almost.
Yeah, exactly. Because you had like your power ups and like just I don't know. I really like this game. And I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did, but once I started playing it, I was hooked, and it satisfied everything that I was looking for at that time for playing games. So it was kind of disappointing that it was over when I beat it, but don't get me wrong, I was happy that I finally beat it. But yeah, Cyber Shadow was awesome. I would love more games in that. Again, this is another retro style game. I mean, it felt like it was straight out of like an 8-bit, 16-bit, you know.
Even like the cutscenes and everything.
Yeah. It was really, really great, and it was hard. It was still challenging, and there was multiple times where I was streaming to Patrick. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not gonna get past this part, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm past it, and then I'm like playing it for like, you know, hours. But I do remember there's a couple times where I literally got like stuck in one spot for like an hour because I just could not get past it.
It was a challenging game.
And because when it did feel fair, but like when you died, like you had to make it to the checkpoint. Like you saw a checkpoint.
Checkpoints were sometimes far apart, sometimes close. The ones that were far were like
they weren't horrible, but it was definitely like the tower climbing thing was like, oh my god. And like I'd see it and then I'd like die right as I'm getting to it. Like I would miss a jump or something, miss like a bounce jump or whatever. Cause yeah, I don't know though, but that game was awesome. If you like any like ninja platformer, like definitely Cyber Shadow. Gotta check that out. Fantastic game.
When I played that game, I was like, Chad would love this.
Yeah, Cyber Shadow was awesome. That could easily, I don't know. That was a great game. So.
All right. So we're on to number 3 for me.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So my number 3 game, which I'm kind of cheating and putting 3 games into one, but
I know what it is now.
Now you know what it is. The Danganronpa series, which I played the whole series for the first time this year, from like January through, and I think it lasted me through almost May. It was a long.
I was gonna say it's like through the summer, at least into the summer.
I think each of those games ended up being like 40 hours, give or take. So,
yeah. Well, didn't you say between all 3 of them it was like 111 hours or something like that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But they were great. They were such great games. So they are kind of like visual novel, kind of almost like Phoenix Wright-ish games, but you're also like detective, murder, dating sim. It's really weird. It mashes all these genres together, and I feel like that's kind of half of the appeal of the game, is it's always trying to surprise you in some weird way, like, and we're gonna do this now, and we're gonna do this, and now you're playing Hangman while trying to find out who's the accuser, and you're like, what is going on? And as you're trying to like solve evidence to find who's the guilty party in a court case. You're like shooting truth bullets and your evidence, and you're like, what is this game? It's so bonkers. But you just learn to go with the flow, and you kind of love it. And more than that, you grow to really care about the characters, and the story is so weird, and just you get so intrigued in the mystery and this crude little bear. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It surprised me in so many ways, and at the end of the day, like, I think back fondly about these characters and the really crazy scenarios that they got into. So I have to like rank it on my top 5 just for that. So Danganronpa, play those games if you like Phoenix Wright or Zero Escape games. It's kind of like that too.
Yeah.
And, which I think the reason why it reminded me of that is the same developer as the Zero Escape games.
Okay.
Spikesoft, I think is what they're called.
I forgot the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9999 was awesome. I loved that game.
Such a great game.
And I still never beat Virtue's Reward, or and I never played the other one. I
was not as a fan as the second 2 games, but
yeah.
Just because I kind of went a little too into the Saw aspect. I don't know.
Yeah. 999 was awesome.
999.
Like when you recommended that to me, and I went out and found a copy of it and bought it. Like I loved every minute of that game. That was fun.
So good.
That was like the first that was one of the first like visual novel style games I like got sucked into.
I was slowly pulling Chad into the visual novel.
You're just trying to make me read.
Yeah.
That's just you tricking me into reading by playing games. Because then it was all 3 Phoenix Wright games.
Yes. But yeah, there you have it. All right, we're doing good. Hopefully.
Yeah, we're not too bad.
Number two.
Number 2
All
from Sadish.
Yeah. For me, number 2 was Part-Time UFO.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've got
If
us on
I
the
had-
list because I would have given it an honorable mention otherwise. But
Yeah.
You're
If here's the thing. So for me, it's a lot of experience. All right. So for me, if I had played Part-Time UFO by myself, it wouldn't have been on this list. But the fact that I played it with you was just so much fun.
for sure.
Just playing co-op. It was just so much fun. It was satisfying, but it was so goofy and it was so fast. And like every time we were just like screaming or just like, just laughing at like how ridiculous it was. Or like, just the stacking would fall, or just the level design of like the stacking the cheerleaders. It's just so weird and random.
I have to check this game out.
Oh, it's so good.
Or like that art piece where it was just like so weirdly balanced, and yet it was balanced. You know what I mean? And it was just it was fun. It was so much fun. And the boss at the end was so goofy.
Just
Yeah.
like playing a game with somebody else can just make it so
Yes.
much better. Like
Yes.
I mean that's how, like Demon Throttle for me. It was like playing that with Patrick. Like I don't know if I
I
would
was
have
gonna.
enjoyed it as much playing it solo. Like I don't know.
I totally forgot about Demon Throttle. Me and Patrick only played it for like what? Like 10 minutes or something.
Oh, you
No,
guys were playing
was
it
like
while
30
I
minutes.
was with the
Yeah.
kids, right? Yeah.
And like I just got immediately hooked on it, even though come on, I died like 2 minutes into it, and then Patrick had to end up playing
Yeah.
it. But like I kind of got hooked on it just because it was so fun. It was just fun playing together.
Yeah, just playing together. Like, and that's like Cuphead. Like, I bought Cuphead for Switch solo, and like I played like the first like half of it, I guess, like up until where you can see how many times you died, and that's when I stopped. And like I died like way less playing solo than Patrick and I did together, but I had so much more fun working together as a team to like, kind of like, get our patterns down and play. It just makes the game so much more fun.
Each other.
Yeah, like it just adds a different dynamic to the game, like having those like parry effects and being able to have a different strategy and stuff. And then just like the camaraderie, like when you beat it, you're like, yeah, like giving each other high fives, and like, especially if you're stuck on something for a while and you beat it, and it's like, yes, like just having that like excitement that's shared is like, that's the beauty of couch co-op. Like you can do it online too. Like when we played like Left 4 Dead a lot, you know, it was like, oh, we got it, we did it, we got the gnome and stuff like that. Like it's still just as fun, but like in person, it's just like another level. So yeah, that's awesome that you know, we all have like that kind of experience with the game being on the list because of that. So.
Summary: co-op games are awesome.
Yep.
TLDR. I'm glad you had Part-Time Yoko on your list, because it really is such a unique co-op game and has like the perfect balance of like wackiness that you can like mess with each other, but also like strategy of like, okay, so but how do we actually do this?
Yeah. So my number 2 is Tunic. We already talked about it.
Nice.
So that's quick. That's very quick and out of the way. But yeah, no, I loved it. Tunic was awesome. I can maybe switch Tunic and Cyber Shadow around, because those two games I think I played those back to back. I think it was Cyber Shadow then Tunic.
I think it was pretty close.
It's very close. So like it would just they're different games. They're different style of gameplay. One's completely exploration and puzzle solving, and the other one is just straight up action platforming. Loved them both in their own respects, but you know, being the Zelda fan I am, like, I don't know, like Tunic having just like the manual callbacks that just look like a retro NES like manual, and some of the stuff that happens in the game that kind of makes it, you know, like hitting like the pause button to bring up the menu would like show like a CRT glow in the background to make it look like you're actually reading this manual and stuff. Like, it's just really, really cool. And I think that's why I put it at my number 2. Just, I've enjoyed it that much, and it's very nostalgic and everything. So
cool.
Yep.
All right. So,
that was quick.
My number 2. Yes. My number 2 is a game that fans have long heralded as like the best thing since Earthbound, which I can now agree it is probably up there, is Undertale.
Oh yeah, I forgot you played that.
Yes, and that game was phenomenal. Just the writing was so witty and funny. The combat was surprisingly like really unique and fun. It was almost like a bullet hell, but like with like humor, and as like you're fighting like frogs and flies and stuff, and they're like hopping in your box, and you're like dodging stuff with your heart. And depending how you play, it's either like a combat game or a puzzle game. So like if you're trying to be merciful and not kill the enemies you're fighting, it's a puzzle solving game. You're like, how do I befriend you or make you nice so we don't have to fight? And it's interesting. It's just very unique, and like the music is so good, and I could say lots and lots of great things about it, but it's full of surprising twists and lots of heart, and just everyone should play Undertale now. I'm gonna be one of those fans that now insist everyone play Undertale. So
maybe I'll put that on my list of games to play for 2023. I'll make a note. Do it. Make the walls bleed.
I know there are multiple endings, and I definitely cannot handle the harder ending. It's way too crazy. So I just watched a video of it, but it is so fascinating. Like the depths that they explore these multiple endings, and I'm like, this creator's a genius. So Undertale, awesome game, so cool. So glad I played it.
Awesome.
All right.
So we're at the top.
We're at
number 1.
Yes.
Number 1 game of the year.
For me,
What you got?
it's a no-brainer. The two of these two know what it is. It's Horizon Forbidden West.
That's definitely the one you probably spent the most time this year, besides Destiny.
So freaking good. Oh my god. With the continuation of the story from Zero Dawn and just the lush environments, the machines, the voice acting. It's just so good.
Did
Just
you like
feels
it?
so good to play.
Did you like it
What's that?
more? Did you like it more than Zero Dawn?
Yes,
Yes?
it is better than Zero Dawn. It is tougher than Zero Dawn as well.
That explains a little of Sedish's likeness of it. More challenge. Yes.
I actually told
So well
Patrick.
done.
I actually told Patrick that I might give it another chance. The Zero Dawn, that is.
Considering it. Yeah.
I've mentioned it because yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna cut off.
I
here.
just don't know what I could say about it other than it's just amazing and it's
Sometimes that's all you gotta say.
yeah. I mean, like the exploration and everything, the story. Oh, the story is just chef's kiss. It's like, because like you know who the bad guys are, but even like the bad guys can turn into like gray in the morality of everything, and it's just like it's just so well done, and just the like I said, continuation of the story from Zero Dawn and Frozen Wild is so good. Frozen Wild didn't exactly add much to the story. It gave you a little like, you know, there's just like something else in the world kind of deal. You know, it's like, oh, that's neat, that's fun. You know, it's good to know. You know, that's just like a side thing. You know, offshoot of the main stuff. So, but still, it's well done. It introduced the big bads. Well, what you thought were. I'm not gonna say anything. Because like the sequel. Yeah, there's just definitely. It's definitely going to be a trilogy. It's definitely going to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
So my number one kind of follows along with your. So you're picking, continuation of a Sony franchise, and I am as well. I'm actually going to cheat and do God of War from 2018 and Ragnarok as a continuation, since I played them pretty much back to back. Again, like I said earlier, it took me a while to get into the first one and finally sit down and go through it. But once I did, I got into the story. But I found myself more interested in the Ragnarok story, the continuation, with Atreus being older, and then I'm not trying not to spoil anything for you, Sadish, since I know you're playing the first one now and haven't really done much with the second one. But just the story throughout the game, the growth of Atreus, what you start finding out, it just, I really enjoyed it. I wanted to know more. It was very tough to stop playing each night at a specific time, because that's like the beauty of that game, is that it never felt like it stopped. Because even when you're like between missions, like the mission would end, but they just start talking about the next thing you're gonna do, and you're just like, that sounds cool, let's go. And like the little yellow icon would pop up, and I just walk that way and keep playing. I really enjoyed it. The ending of Ragnarok like totally hit me emotionally that I didn't expect. And I don't know if that's just because I'm soft, or because I have kids, or what, but I don't know. It definitely hit me more than I expected, and I think because of that alone, I have to put it as my game of the year, because nothing else did that. Even though I was kind of rushing to get through it, and I was getting frustrated with it, I still had a ton of fun playing it. I still feel like I said earlier, where like 70% of the game is a movie, but I was in for the movie. I wanted to be there. I wanted to watch it. I wanted to know the story. I told Patrick last night when I decided to start playing Link to the Past again last night. Part of me was like, maybe I should just go do side quests in Ragnarok. But like,
I have a
there's
feeling maybe after a week or two you might go back.
yeah, maybe. I just wanted to stop and be done with it and play
Yeah.
something else because I literally
Take a
played them
Yeah.
back to back, and they're both about 20 to 30 hours. And for me, my game time is nightly, and then like hockey gets in the way of that, and other stuff comes up where I don't end up gaming for a few days. So I just kind of wanted to be done, especially getting close to the end of the year. I wanted like a big game to finish for the end of the year, and I think that was a good one to push through and get on the list. But that whole series of God of War that's my game of the year for this year. So
Nice.
and I'm just gonna go ahead and say,
Glad we got to play it.
I'm probably gonna say it now, like my game of the year next year will very likely be Tears of the Kingdom, unless it sucks. Like, unless for some reason it's like really weird, like Majora's Mask or something. And not that Majora's Mask, I played it and I did like it, but like at the time when it came out, it was like I hate this game and everyone play it. Like, unless it's something like that, it's gonna be my game of the year.
If
Mostly.
only a sports story had come out within this recording, that could have probably competed.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I loved the first golf story was great, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with Sports Story. But yeah, God of War. That's my number one of this year, and
Nice.
I'm just proud of myself this year, being able to knock out 20 games regardless of
That's
their
nothing to scoff at. That's pretty good.
like 208 hours of gameplay. Considering last year I beat 5 games total. Like I think I played 6 games total and beat 5 maybe, and one of them was like co-op, like it takes 2, which was like pretty easy, like for both of us to play through. But yeah, it was definitely a different year this year as far as gaming. I tried to make that more of a priority with my time. And and that also included, I didn't even add this year that I built like 2 arcade machines this year, and like I played a ton of arcade games that like I didn't put on the list. Like I did put Turtles on the list, but like you can't beat Donkey Kong unless I'm like kill screening it, and I'm not. So like I played a ton of Donkey Kong Jr., Galaga. Actually, I got a Galaga this year too. Yeah, so I had 3
a year every year.
I had three arcade games this year I was working on. So like on top of that, yeah, and pinball too. I played a ton of pinball this year. I don't even consider those being in my list, even though like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pinball, honorable mention, awesome game, so much fun. I'd love to get one day. But yeah, anyway, it was a good year for gaming, and hopefully more to come.
Sure, for sure.
So
Shout out to Game Pass for this year.
oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Game Pass.
Absolutely.
Shout
That's
out
how
to PS Plus free games.
that too,
That's
man.
always good too, man.
Yeah, like Game Pass was like Shredder's Revenge. I did buy Cuphead. I think I bought the Cuphead DLC.
I think we did. Yeah.
But like, yeah, Shredder, Tunic, and then
I
like,
think I played like 15 games on Game Pass at least.
yeah, something like that. That's what you played. I had plans of playing more, but then the controller like wouldn't work. I remember I
Yes,
loaded up
I
like
did have
Turnip
that
Boy
issue
didn't
too.
work, and
Yeah.
a couple other games just would not work with my controller. So,
Yeah.
but let's hear it. What's your number one, Patrick?
All right, my number one, which you heard someone else mention before, but my number one is Spiritfarer. So, yes.
There you go.
So, I won't talk too much long since we already talked a little bit about it, but my god, that game surprised and delighted me in ways that I did not expect. It just, I stood up.
Yeah, your camera is out.
Yeah. But, yeah, just the art and animation in that game is so beautiful. The music, I just relaxed me and made me happy. It's just, I love the flow of the game, the activities, and how you kind of manage and just feeds into one another. Like you're cooking, you're fishing, and just while sailing your boat to another island, the exploration was fun. But most of all, I just loved the characters and the story of the game, and how it kind of handled these topics of loss and just all the various ways, like explored that topic in such well thought out and like caring manners, and just it was so touching, and it surprised me in fun gameplay ways too, like how you meet some of these characters like I did not expect, and I was just like, oh, okay, so you're a character who's suddenly on my ship, hello. And the fact that it made me have this much fun and caring, and for a game that has like zero combat, it's just all kind of like management and exploring, and just like there's a hug button. More games need a hug button. Like, I don't know how they made such a tender game with like no combat, and I just loved it. And so
I hated hugging those people that I did not want to hug, but I had to hug them to keep their freaking happiness high.
I don't know. I grew to love every character, even the ones that were annoying. Like, I don't know, everyone had their moments, and you're like, you know what, I understand you, and I'm here to help
Yes,
you.
I agree with you, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. They did a good job in allowing you to see their side,
Mhm.
but yeah, I guess it's just my sensibilities where it's just like, yeah, I understand, but you still
But-
made those choices,
Yeah.
and those were bad choices. At least in the sense of it may have been good for you, but it may not. But it was definitely not good for the people around you.
Oh yeah. And,
So,
and when they
for
totally
me-
like annoyed my shipmates, you're like,
Yeah. So for me, it was just like, no, I understand, but no, I still don't like you.
and I feel like everyone's play experience can be so different with this game. Like, so it's totally dependent. But like, I remember having moments where I felt kind of like chaotic, like, oh my gosh, I have too many passengers on my ship. Like, I kind of wish some of these people would get off because there's too many things to juggle. And then, like, the following moment, that like my ship is nearly empty, and I'm like, I miss my people now. This feels so
That-
empty and sad.
That's
and,
when you
like,
realize, oh wait, I can get back to fishing.
I mean, that's certainly something I did, but I was like, I kind of miss these presence around me, and just, I don't know, this game had so many feelings, and it's such an interesting game to play. I just, yeah,
Did you guys play that on Game Pass?
yes,
You did. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I think
No,
it's
I had it. I had it
oh,
on
I
PS
did.
Plus.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that is my game of the year, Spiritfarer. I'm pretty sure there's like demos of it on most platforms, so if you're curious to try it, you can at least give it a shot. So
I was curious. I feel like I might have that from PS Plus as well. It sounds familiar.
yeah, I know it might not be for everyone. It's a very unique game, but it's just so refreshing. So,
Cool.
but all right.
That wraps it
We
up.
finished a little late, but we did it.
We did it. We have completed our 2022 wrap up. Games of the year. We have a new fantasy season that's going to be starting. That'll be the next video that gets posted. Will be the draft, which is, as of right now, planned to happen next Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah. Tentatively on the 20th. So.
And we are adding one new person to that. So we will see if they want to actually contribute and be on camera or talk, or at least be recorded. If not, they can, we can always do the draft separately, and we can talk and just have them draft decide. We can figure all that out.
It's our cheap friend's friend. We'll see how we refer to them.
Yeah, so we'll see how this season works out with having a little smaller selection of games to choose from. Counter picks will be interesting, and yeah, we'll go from there. All we know about next season is Patrick and I have our Donkey Kong themed names, and we have and I have Zelda. That's it. That's the only guarantee at the moment. Knowing my luck, it'll get canceled even though it has a date. So.
But no one will counterpick it.
No one will counterpick it this time.
No sane person will.
Yeah, probably not. So, that does it. Another episode, another 2-hour episode, so enjoy. If you lasted through this whole episode, thank you.
They like long episodes for the end of the year.
It's true. It's good stuff. Because other podcasts aren't giving you anything during the holidays. We're giving you 2 hours of rambling, of a wrap-up
Yeah, it is.
of our year.
Talk about Final Fantasy VII and then going to every single Final Fantasy game in existence.
We got takes and you're going to hear about them. So, with that said, everybody have a happy new year, happy holidays, stay safe, happy gaming.
Merry gaming.
Merry
Yes.
gaming. There you go. All right, everyone. Take care.